about me. Okay, so I'm Sharon. I'm older than probably a lot of you. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm not a young chicken anymore. So, okay. So when I was about 8 or 9, I knew what I wanted to be. I either wanted to be a teacher, a vet, or air hostess. An air hostess, we had to learn different languages. Forget it. So that was out the window. Vet, go to university, and I wasn't the smartest child at school. So I was like, nope, not doing that. So I decided I wanted to be a teacher. So when I was in secondary school, we had something called work placement. So you go to somewhere of your choice. There you want to go and do work for 2 weeks. And I wanted to go and work in my old primary school. So I got a place there for 2 weeks, and I was in reception for 2 weeks. Absolutely loved it, and it just solidified everything. It was like, that was a nail on the coffin for me. I was like, yeah, this is me all day, every day. So I left there, went back to secondary school, did my exams, didn't do very well in my exams. I passed one GCSE, which was a grade C. At the time, I wasn't laughing, trust me. So with my dad's support, he was like, no, Sharon, you're going to college. And he drove me to a college in Spa Road, and they directed us to Asylum Road in Peckham. And I went to Southwark College, and I'd done my BTEC first in childcare. So that was like an introduction course, like an entry level, like a level 1 in childcare. And then I'd done my BTEC diploma in childcare. So my level 1, so my ICCS, Introduction to Communication and Childcare Studies, that was a year at Asylum College, Southwark. And then I stayed on, I did my BTEC diploma. That was 2 years at college. And within that time, I was on when I say we, so when we was at college many years ago in the early 90s, we had a system called the YTS scheme, which is like a youth training scheme. So you get paid. So I got paid every time I went to college, but you'd have to go to college on a weekly basis to get paid. And I think it was like £36 a week, between £36 to £40 a week. Not a lot of money, but back then, to a lot of us, it was a lot of money. So I was on a YTS scheme, so I'd get paid every week, but you'd have to sign a form, and the days of the week to say that you attended college for your classes. And I love college. It was a great opportunity to meet different people from different backgrounds, different lifestyles, different classes. I remain in good contact with one of them actually, Suma. So if you're watching soon, hiya. So yeah, I was there for 3 years, and then after that I decided I wanted to go and do my NNEB, which is equivalent now to level 3 in childcare. That was 2 years, and I had to do a work placement in a variety of schools. So I had to do a primary school, a hospital, so that's a play specialist, so primary school, reception, nursery, and a hospital over two years. So we had no computers back then, it was all textbooks. And my family couldn't afford a computer. We had one for a family of 7 people, so I come from, I'm one of 5, sorry, I'm the oldest, and I've got 2 brothers and 2 sisters younger than me, and obviously my mum and dad. So yeah, when I was doing my NNEB, it wasn't easily accessible as it is for you guys now, luckily. So I wasn't able to research anything. I was in college, we went to college, I was going to college, how many days a week? Once a week for my NNEB over 2 years, and I'd see the girls once or twice a week, again making new friends. It was really nice. And the college was, so again, Southwark College, and it was on Drummond Road in Bermondsey, and I ended up moving to Bermondsey as well. Really nice area. And I worked at Great Ormond Street Hospital as a play specialist for a period of time, and even worked when I finished my training for my NNEB. So I done that. So in that time of being at college, just learning new skills, the EYFS, what else was I learning? Safeguarding, equality and diversity, health and safety, how children grow and develop, so child development from newborn up until 12 years of age. But did you know children, young adults, by their minds, their brains don't stop developing a bit until they're around the age of 19. So yeah, They're still very much developing. Brains do not stop developing until young adults around 19, 20. And physically, children and young adults, obviously you hear the growth spurt where they're just shooting up or filling out. And that's just them getting older. So yeah, so after that, I then worked in a variety of nurseries. I did agency work. So I got my NNEB and I was like, right, okay, so I did agency work for a little while for an agency in Peckham. And then from the agency in Peckham, I then got a job at a nursery on the Aylesbury estate, where I lived. So I went and worked in a nursery there. Then from a nursery, I then worked in another nursery in Walworth Road, because I lived in Walworth Road anyway. And then from there, I went to a nursery in Dulwich. So I've worked in a lot of private and a lot of mainstream nurseries. I've worked in good practice, and trust me, I've worked in bad practice. And you live and you learn. You really do live and learn, especially in practices where you just don't feel comfortable, or you feel you can't relate to anybody, or they're not taking what you're saying on board. Voice that, and if they don't validate what you're saying, then maybe it's your time to move on. I left so many nurseries due to what I was seeing and what I'd been taught and what I saw from good practice, and then I'm trying to embed it, and certain nurseries or schools were like, no, we're quite happy about it, thank you, Sharon. Either you like it or, there's the door, so to speak. So then from there I decided to go and work at Great Ormond Street again. So there was a play specialist with young children that suffer from arthritis. It was a rewarding experience, but at the same time very emotionally draining for me, seeing these young children, as young as 2 or 3, that had arthritis and were in extreme pain and couldn't leave their beds. Like, you think arthritis, you think elderly, right? No. Please don't be deceived. And then from Great Ormond Street Hospital, I then got a job in Bermondsey at another private day nursery. I was there for about 2 years, and then I decided to leave there and got another nursery job in Peckham, and I stayed there for about 2 to 3 years, and that's when I decided I want something new. So I worked my way up from a nursery nurse to a room leader, to a third in charge, to a deputy manager, and there was, apart from moving up again to a manager, there was nothing else that I really wanted to do. I wanted a new challenge. I was starting to get a little bit bored in my job role because I was doing it inside out, upside down, with my eyes closed, as you guys all know and probably do. With any job, you just do it automatically. And I was like, yeah, I want a new challenge. And then I saw something come up about, do you want to be an assessor, childcare assessor, no experience or qualifications needed. So I rang them up at the time, and they were called Smart Training, and my first ever, they were called Mert Education, and they were based in Elephant and Castle. Again, based around the back of the Aylesbury estate where I used to live, by East Street Market, if anybody's from South East London. And I rang them up, I had a job interview, and I got it. And they trained me up, and I was there for 3 years, and back then it was CYPW, Children and Young People's Workforce Level 2 and Level 3s. I was doing Level 2s. It was a work-based environment. My learners would come in 2 to 3 times a week. I would teach a class-based teaching, go out and do observations. So observations is like when you're observing children and you're setting out for the EYFS, but it's you observing adults, how they communicate with children, how they're interacting with them, and you're writing it all down. And then you're going back and referencing it against standards, so it's like a guideline that you're following, like your next steps, yeah? Or your assessment baseline. So the assessment baseline, that's what you're following. It's the same like that with the observation, you're interlinking it and see what aspects it covers. And I was at Mer Education, and then after 3 years, Mer were closing due to financial difficulties. Then I went on to Smart Training. From Smart Training, I was there for a few years again, and then my numbers increased and my qualifications increased and changed. So from CYPW, it was still there. Then I got into team leading and management, and I started doing that in relation to childcare, so room leaders, managers, third in charge, training them guys up. I also trained some health and social care, actually, because health and social care interlink with childcare. There's some aspects that don't, but I had to do some training on that. So I also am a health and social care tutor assessor as well, but my main priority, how can I put it, where my heart belongs is childcare. I love childcare. That's I eat it every day. Not physically. But yeah, so I've been doing this now for over 15 years. So I've worked in a lot of different training providers, private training providers, where I've had to embed functional skills, say English or your maths or your ICT, which everybody loves. So I've had to embed that as in deliver it, go and see my learners, observe them, mark work, reference it again against standards, so it's like a baseline assessment to see whether you're competent. In all of my 15 years, have I ever said that an individual isn't competent to do this job? I'm going to be honest with you, yeah, I have, because it's a safeguarding issue, because I'm putting my name to say this person is competent at doing their job in childcare, and I didn't feel comfortable, and we had observations from the nursery that this candidate was in, and everyone was in agreement this candidate wasn't suitable for the job role. So unfortunately, you know, we decided that we wasn't going to support her within her journey anymore, but gave her other options. I had discussions with her about why we wasn't going to support her within the journey anymore, to make her see where we was coming from, if she could relate to where we was coming from. She did. It took a little bit of time, but she did. She realised. And she needed to start at the very beginning. So she needed to do the level 1 and then work herself up to a level 3, because she hadn't come from a childcare background before. So that is me in a nutshell. Do I love my job? Yes. Do I get tired? Hell yes. Is it frustrating? Isn't any job. Is it rewarding? Most definitely. When I see my girls complete and they get their qualification and it's their dream and it's their aspiration and I've helped somebody to do that, that is a really rewarding experience. And I love doing it. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't change the world. I love doing it. I do get tired. But, you know, I think giving something back to the community and people that want to give something as well to the children, our next generation, you know, and help them to grow and blossom and thrive. I won't be here in a few years' time. Well, I don't know. You know, anything can happen from one day to the next. You know, I never take life for granted, especially with this year. Well, last year and this year, it's still ongoing, right? So, yeah, just remain safe and careful. But yeah, that's me. I love my job. Do I love working with children? Yeah, I do. I love it. I am doing working with children at the moment. I'm deputy manager of a nursery. And I went and saw my children today, and their honesty is just so brutal, but they just make me laugh, and it's just nice to get that hug in the morning and just see their interaction and just seeing that you're making a difference. Here's a question for anybody that works in schools or nurseries, especially schools, your bubbles. How are you dealing with these bubbles now? When are these bubbles going to stop? Because I know some nurseries and schools find it really hard with the bubbles or the clouds. So, you know, you've got to keep your bubbles, your group, your year within your year. So your class within the class and not mixed with anybody else. But I've noticed when I've done observations, it's not always the case. Obviously restrictions are easing. It's getting a little bit easier for everybody. But how have you managed it? Because I know it's been hard this side. So next week, guys, I'm going to be talking about safeguarding. So we're going to be looking at abuse. So part 1, I was just about to say part 2. Part 1 is safeguarding, and we're looking at areas of abuse. And this also includes faith-based beliefs. So we're talking witchcraft, spiritual. We're talking FGM, as well as physical, sexual, emotional, and mental. Yeah, and neglect. There's also financial, but we're not going to go into all of that. So until next week, guys, take care. See you soon. Thank you for watching. And if you like, please subscribe to the channel. It would make me really, really happy. I'm on 12 subscribers at the moment, so that's great. And people are looking and watching, so please stay till the end. Watch. Because this is the end, isn't it? So yeah, thank you so much. Okay, take care. Bye guys. Bye.